Welcome to part two of ManageEngine OpManager's free training series. I hope you can hear me and see the presentation clearly, and please confirm the same in the chat window. I'll wait for a moment. The goal of this training session is to simplify network monitoring and help you utilize OpManager in the best way possible. I hope this objective gets met by the end of this session. I would also like to let you know that there are a panel of product experts here with us. Please feel free to raise your queries on the chat panel, and they'll be happy to answer all the questions right away. Let me introduce myself. I'm Vishak Pradeep. I work in the IT operations management suite for ManageEngine, and today I'll help you take a simple approach to network monitoring and OpManager. Glad to meet you all in this training webinar. This is the second part of the training series. Last week on 19th September, we discussed network discovery in detail. The following week on 3rd October, we'll talk about alerts, reports, and network mapping. And finally, we'll wrap up this four-part training series on the 10th of October by discussing OpManager's powerful add-ons and diverse integrations. Note that all four parts happen across two time zones, 6 a.m. GMT and 11 a.m. EDT. In today's session, we'll be focusing on OpManager's network monitoring capabilities. What is expected of a good network monitoring tool? First off, it should be able to monitor diverse vendor type and device types. It should provide visibility into the devices it monitors. And finally, it should be able to improve the performance of the network it monitors. OpManager is designed with this in mind, and after today's session, I hope you'll be able to achieve these objectives. Without any further wait, let's get into part two, network monitoring. Let's have a quick look at today's agenda. We'll start off with availability monitoring, and then we'll talk about server performance monitoring and the metrics involved in measuring performance. The next thing we'll address is network performance monitoring and the device type supported by OpManager. Then we'll talk about virtualization, storage, WLC, and finally we'll talk about IPSLA monitoring to wrap this session up. That being said, let's talk about availability monitoring right away. Availability monitoring is one of the most basic and fundamental requirements for an enterprise or a business network, as unplanned network downtime and outages can seriously affect the revenue and reputation. OpManager performs availability monitoring by pinging the devices in your network at regular intervals. So basically, OpManager uses protocols such as ICMP to ping a device in the network, and if the device is responding, that means the device is up and running, so it's available. However, you can also use SNMP and TCP protocols to do the same availability monitoring. So if ICMP is blocked or disabled in your network, you can check the availability using a TCP port check. With OpManager, you can also define the polling interval according to the criticality of a device. Certain devices may not be needed to be checked all the time. So to reduce the load, you can increase the polling interval. Certain devices might be very critical, so you will put a very low polling interval in that device. We'll see all this in today's session. And besides availability, we also monitor for packet loss and response time. And you can set thresholds, alert thresholds for these metrics. And when they are breached or violated, you'll get alerts. So let's go to the UI and see how we can monitor the availability of a device. So this is the UI. So once the last week we discussed network discovery in OpManager, and we already told you that when the discovery is completed, all the devices get listed in the inventory. So this is the inventory, and all the discovered devices are here. To change availability monitoring, so whenever discovery is completed, OpManager automatically starts monitoring the device for availability using the IP address or the DNS name, whatever means. So to change this default availability settings, go inside a device snapshot. This is the device snapshot, and it contains like all the information OpManager has about this device and the monitors, all the summary and everything is here. And to change availability monitoring, click the sandwich icon on the top right corner. So here, click on availability monitoring, and you can enable or disable status poll right here, and then change the monitoring interval as per your needs. You can customize it. So that's how you can change the polling interval. Now, once this is done, you can also tinker with this even more. Go to edit device details, and here you can change the IP address, you can change the vendor, all that information is right here. And yeah, here also you can change the availability monitoring interval, and I mentioned earlier that we can use TCP and SNMP. All of that can be changed here. And how you're polling the device, you can poll it using the IP address or the DNS. like we mentioned in the last session, may sometimes the IP address of a device could change. In that case, polling using DNS will ensure that the device will be monitored for availability. And you can configure uplink dependency right here so that you're not, when the uplink device goes down, you're not flooded with alerts. So everything can be done right here. And when you click on save, this will be updated in the device. So that's how you monitor availability. And as you can see right here, along with availability, we have also got packet loss and response time. Why do we monitor this? This is because sometimes, even when a device is 100% available, the quality of the connection could be bad. The network could experience high packet loss or high response time. In that case, 100% availability doesn't mean anything. So with all three metrics, you get a more complete picture of what's happening in your network. So there's that. Now, once we are done with availability monitoring, and we're going to talk about more specific monitors now. And let me just share a convenient hack with you before we move on. So the rule of thumb of network monitoring with OpManager is there's always two ways to associate monitors and start monitoring. There's always two ways. One way is to do it in bulk, in general. So when you want to do that, you go to settings and you look under monitoring settings and you use these monitors to apply, to start monitoring and change monitoring everything in mass or in bulk. So these are what that is what these are for, and we'll be exploring most of this in today's session. Let's say you don't want to do it in bulk. You want to go to a certain device and tweak its monitoring because its requirements are different. In that case, you go to inventory, and like we did earlier, you go into the device and you go into monitors, and here you edit the monitoring settings. So there is two ways of doing all kinds of monitoring. All the monitoring that we're going to discuss today, there's always two ways of doing it, and this will show up again and again. We'll describe both methods as required. So this is just a rule of thumb of monitoring with OpManager. So moving on, let's go back to the presentation and talk about process monitoring. You may have crucial devices in your network, and those crucial devices would have crucial processes, and monitoring them on a timely basis is critical. So OpManager fetches active processes running in a device and then tracks their utilization, CPU, memory, instance count, everything OpManager tracks. And you can set alerts for these processes. So in case one process is down, you get an alert for it. Or in case one process is using too much of CPU, you get an alert for it. So you can even terminate or kill unnecessary processes that are overutilizing your resources or aren't needed anymore. So that's how OpManager does process monitoring. So let's see this in the UI. So this rule of thumb we mentioned earlier, right? That applies here. Go to settings, and here under monitoring, you have processes. So these are process template. What's a process template? Basically, it's a way of monitoring, a certain monitoring settings that you can apply to a lot of devices. So this is a process monitoring template for MS SQL. There's a process monitoring template for HTTP. All of this exists. Let's create a process monitoring template. Click add, and here, see how you do it. You have to select a process to monitor. So you go to a device, you select a device, and you select a protocol. WMI is REST. And like we mentioned earlier, last session we talked how we can add credentials. So you need the credentials to get the processes from the device. So you can either use the credential library that you have. These are all the credentials we saved in OpManager, or you can use the associated credential that is associated with this device. So we're going to use that, and then we click next. What OpManager is going to do is it's fetching all the active processes from this particular device. You can see all of them right here. The path and everything is right here. So let me just select the process, system idle processes, click save, and this process monitoring template is now added here, as you can see, and the description is all provided automatically. Now, how do we associate this to devices? And how do we tweak them on? How do we monitor this? How do we set alerts? So when you click edit, you have the option to change the name, the description as you want. You can enable the path of the process and arguments if you want. And these are the thresholds. So this is for CPU utilization, memory utilization, and instance count. Let's say we want to be alerted when this particular process is using more than 60% of the CPU. So this is a percent threshold. You provide 60. So whenever the CPU utilization crosses 60%, this alert will be triggered. And this is very interesting, consecutive times. So this could be a one-off thing. Maybe it's nothing. The CPU utilization would go over 60 and come back down, and it's probably nothing. In that case, you can set the number of times this threshold has to be breached for the alert to trigger. So if you set this number as 2, what will happen is when the first time the CPU utilization crosses 60, OpManager will do nothing. And then the second consecutive time, if it crosses 60 again, and then in that case, that alert will be triggered. You can set this number as much as whatever you want, and that's how it will be triggered. So what is REAM? REAM is basically after the utilization crosses, if it does go down, then there's no point in the alert being there anymore. So you can set an REAM value as 55, and imagine the CPU utilization crosses 60, and then it goes back down to a 40. In that case, when it crosses the REAM value, the alert will be revoked. So you can set the same for memory. You can change from percentage to bytes, KB, MB, GB as needed. You can edit all here, and when you click save, this particular process template has been updated. Now what you can do is associate these two devices. Click the associate button and select the process monitor. I'm selecting system, the one we created, and these are the applicable devices for this particular monitor because these are the devices in which this process is running. You can select them as needed and click associate, and this is already associated to two devices, as you can see right here. And that's how you monitor processes. Now, this is how you add it en masse in bulk. Let's say how we can add it to a specific device. You go to the device and you select monitors in the snapshot page. These are all the monitors we have. We'll be explaining all of this later. Now let's go to process monitors. See, already it's there because we associated it earlier. But then if you want to associate more, you can click actions, add monitor, and you can, just like before, fetch a monitor from the, select a monitor from the already running monitors, processes, sorry. Select a process from the already running processes, and you can associate an alarm. Or you can associate from the already existing templates. Now all three are being monitored in this device. So in any case, that's how you monitor processes in OpManager. Moving on, let's go back to the presentation. Service monitoring. So there are two kinds of service monitoring in OpManager. There's Windows service monitoring and service monitoring via TCP check. The main difference between these two monitoring methods in OpManager is that the Windows service monitor runs on a Windows server directly and checks if the particular service is up or down and alerts you accordingly. Whereas the TCP service monitor is basically checking the TCP port availability. So OpManager associate monitors dedicated to the service running in your Windows machine for Windows Service Monitor and gets real-time availability of those Windows-based services. Also, for Windows Service Monitoring, you can restart a service or the entire server when it goes down. Sometimes when you restart it, it'll start running again. So you have the option to schedule this, to configure this. So automatically OpManager will restart it. We'll see how it works in the setup. Let's go. And just like for process monitoring, here under settings, under monitoring, you have Windows services. Select Windows services, and these are all the templates that exist. And you can see the associated devices for these templates. Just like before, click add and then select a device. Select a device and select a credential. Right here, use the associated credential. We'll use that. Click next. It'll fetch the Windows services. You can see all the Windows services we have in this. Let's select the particular Windows service, this one, Bluetooth user support. And let's click save and associate. So this is just as before. How many times should this Windows service be unavailable before OpManager triggers an alert? Just the same as before. So if you give 2, I'll give 2 here. So 2 times if OpManager checks and the service is unavailable, OpManager will trigger an alert. And then what should OpManager do if the service is unavailable? It can restart the service or restart the server or just do nothing. Let's just select do nothing. But if you want, you can select these options and this will be done. We click save and associate. This Windows Service Monitor will be created. It actually already exists. It's right here. In any case, if you want to associate this, select associate and then select the particular service. Let's here select alerter, and these are the available devices for this particular service. Select them as needed and select them as needed and then click save. And that's how you can add a Windows Service Monitor. So now let's talk about TCP based service monitoring. Here again, under settings, under monitoring, select service monitors. And these are the service monitoring templates we have under OpManager. Just like before, click add to enter the service name, enter the port number, the timeout, how long should OpManager try to check this port before stopping, and then how many, again, after how many polls should the particular service monitor alert be triggered. Now, this is an interesting option, scan during discovery. So last session, we talked about discovery rule engine, which was a way of automating the post-discovery actions. This is similar to that. So once you enable this particular scan during discovery option, so for this particular service, whenever any new device gets discovered, OpManager will automatically check if this particular service is running in that device. And if it is running in that device, or OpManager will automatically start monitoring for that service. So imagine you creating a service monitor for MSS or DNS. So this is a service name, this is the port number, the timeout, everything is there. So you enable scan during discovery. This means that whenever a device gets discovered, whenever a service gets discovered, OpManager will automatically check if that device has this service running in it. And if it is running in it, OpManager will automatically start monitoring it. It's very convenient. And you can enable these options right here, and you can see the number of associated devices for these services right here. And that's how you enable, you start monitoring for TCP services. Now you can do the same device level association from inventory, go to the device, select monitors, select service monitors, and you can see all the service monitors right here, and you can edit it, set thresholds for it, you can do whatever you want. So that's how you do service monitoring. Let's go back to the presentation. File and folder monitoring. OpManager can monitor the files and folders in the devices you monitor and keep track of the changes done to them. So you can monitor very different things, many different things for these files and folders. You can monitor their existence. You can monitor the content of the file, the size, the age, modifications. Are they being modified? You can configure thresholds based on the criticality of the file. So let's see how we can do this in the product. So so far we've been looking at the bulk ways of adding monitors, and you can do the same here. You can add templates in the files and folder sections, but let's take a different approach. Let's go to the device level and add a file and folder monitor from the device itself. So here go into the device from inventory, select the monitors option, and here you have the different monitors. Select file monitor. Let's add a file monitor first, and select add monitor. So here you have the name for this template. Let's provide a name and then provide a file path. So this is an example of a file path. You just provide a file path. You can test it if you want, and then polling interval for this, the protocol used. Here you can use file contains a particular. If the file contains a particular string, you can trigger the alarm, and you can even match case. The alarm can be of 3 severities: attention, trouble, or critical. You can monitor for the file's existence. If the file, you can monitor for the file existing and not existing as well. You can monitor for the size using thresholds. If the file size is more than a particular amount, you can trigger an alarm. For the age, for a couple of minutes, how many minutes? If it's older than those minutes, you trigger an alarm. Modifications. If you enable this option, if the file gets modified, you get an alert, and you can do that for number of consecutive times and severities, and you can even customize the message. So, and if you want, you can save this particular monitor as a template for other devices if you create it. Once you click on save, this particular file monitor will be ready. Anyways, that's how you monitor files. The same can be done for uh, folder monitors also. So here you can add, this is a monitor I created. Anyways, you can add monitor here, and same, provide the folder path, provide the polling interval, and folder existence, folder size, folder modification, everything can be set. And from folders, you can monitor the files inside. You can drill down into the file and monitor the file from inside the folder as well. So that's how you monitor folder and file. Now you can do the same for by creating a template here. Create a template and you can associate that template to other devices if you want. And that's how you do it. Let's move on to the presentation and talk about script templates. So script monitoring or script templates is something that'll be useful when you want to monitor a specific metric that is not supported by standard SNMP or WMI protocols. Let's say you want to monitor the expiry dates of SSL certificates on your servers, and this cannot be done using SNMP or WMI protocols. In such cases, just you can write up a script on your own. You can write your own script using supported languages such as Python, VB, or Perl, and you can import those scripts into OpManager and use those scripts to monitor for certain things like we just mentioned, the SSL certificates, the expiry dates of the SSL certificates. So these scripts can be executed in the local server where OpManager is there, or in the remote machines which you're monitoring. And the only requirement for script templates is that the outputs of these scripts should be in a predefined format. For example, the instance and its respective value, followed by the next instance and its value. You can always contact our support team. This is the mail ID of the support team. You can contact them for further assistance if needed. Let's see how we can add a script template. So go to settings, under monitoring, you have the option to create script templates right here. Select the option, and these are the existing script templates. I'll show you one of these. And this is how you create. You provide a name, a description, the data type, and then you provide a command line, and then you do the body of the script, and then the timeout seconds. You can execute this script from the local server, that is this server in which OpManager resides, or the monitored machine. And yeah, you can set up thresholds and everything. As you can test the script after you enter the script. To add a new script, click add. And here you can provide a name and everything I just said, you can provide from here. You can set thresholds if that's the kind of script you're writing, something that provides a value, you can provide thresholds for this. And that's how you add scripts, custom scripts in OpManager. And again, you can do the same for a single device. Select the device, go to monitors, script monitors. Yeah, you can associate this to single devices from here. Next up is performance monitoring in OpManager. So before we move on to performance monitoring, let's reflect the objective of this part of the webinar series and the webinar in general. So you wanted to learn how OpManager can simplify network performance monitoring and optimize network operations. So we told you that OpManager simplifies network performance. How does it do that? OpManager basically discovers all your network components, be it switches, routers, printers, servers, VM, or any other devices connected to your network via an IP address. If it's connected to the network with an IP address, OpManager can discover it. And what's more, after discovery, OpManager automatically assigns relevant performance monitors to these devices depending on their type, category, vendors, and so on. So OpManager gets this information and it automatically applies the relevant kind of performance monitors to this device. How does this work? So when OpManager discovers a device with the right set of credentials, it uses the credentials to get the vendor's OID or object identifier. And it uses this to get information related to the device, such as the vendor, the device model, the device type, etc. So it gets all this information about the devices and it understands this is this kind of a device. And then let's say if OpManager discovers a Cisco router, it associates monitors relevant to that of a particular model of a Cisco router. For example, it will associate an SNMP-based CPU utilization monitor, which is relevant to that Cisco router. So that's how OpManager. So and OpManager has device templates, which is just like the monitoring templates we mentioned earlier, a device template is a model of a device with a set of monitors which is exactly right for that device. So whenever a device that matches a template is discovered, OpManager will associate those set of monitors right to that device. This is easier if I show you this in the UI. So again, go to settings and let's see the default list of performance monitors OpManager has. So these are all performance monitors which are specialized for a particular set of vendor for a device. These are all VMware monitors. These are specialized for VMware. This will get you the CPU utilization of a VMware server and so on. We have over 3,000 of these performance monitors which can be applied as is right to the right set of devices. For example, so we can let's say we can add a monitor right here. See, you can add it right here based on the protocol, based on SNMP, based on all this. You can associate right here. So let's say you want to associate a monitor that is for OpManager will do this automatically, but let's just say that you want to do this. So you can select the vendor, you can select the category, and I want to select. There's so many vendors here, it's hard to select, but let's select Cisco and router. So OpManager there itself, it that provided a set of monitors which is perfect for Cisco. See, so many monitors. And you can associate these monitors yourself to that particular device. And once you select the right kind of monitors, let's say you select this, you click next, and you associate this to the relevant devices that you have. That's how you can associate monitors, but this is done automatically. And note that in order to associate performance monitors automatically, you need to provide the right set of credentials. So that's why credentials are so important. Without credentials, OpManager cannot find what kind of device that is. So with the right set of credentials, OpManager finds out the kind of device and assigns performance monitors as needed. Without the right set of credentials, OpManager can only monitor the device for availability, and then you have to do it manually. And here in performance monitors, you see this list in performance monitors. You can see the existing default. These are all the default performance monitors I just mentioned, and you can see the number of associated devices they are they're associated to. So this particular performance monitor is associated to 24 devices. So if I can edit a performance monitor here, if I edit this performance monitor, all 24 devices will be changed. The monitoring for those 24 devices will be changed. Now, I've been mentioning this performance monitor. How does this performance monitor work? Most performance monitors have multi-level alert thresholds. So we'll be talking about alert thresholds in detail in the next session. But let me just say, when I click edit, you can see it right here. These are the multi-level alert thresholds. So what you have is 3 levels of alerts: attention, trouble, critical, and rearm. So if this particular CPU utilization monitor, you can set an attention level threshold for 65% CPU utilization, a trouble level threshold for 75% CPU utilization, and 85% for critical. So with this, you know the severity of an alert. You don't with the multi-level thresholds lets you know what kind of situation this device is. If it's in critical situation, trouble, attention, and yes, you can provide the rearm value right here, and the number of times this has to happen for the alert to be triggered. All the options are right here, and this thresholds, alerts, adaptive thresholds, everything will be discussed in the next part of the pre-training webinar. So that's how you edit the performance monitor. Now, if you wanted to know, so I just mentioned that OpManager will automatically find out what kind of a device it is and automatically associate the performance monitors. So you want to see what kind of monitors OpManager associates for a device, that you can see under settings, under configuration, in device template. So these are the device templates. This is unique for each model of a device, and they all contain, let's select this Windows 2016 device template. They contain information about a device, the vendor. You can provide even an image for this, and then availability monitoring. And then these are the performance monitors that is relevant for this particular device model. So if this particular device model is discovered by OpManager, all of these performance metrics, performance monitors will be associated automatically. That's how this happens. And you can actually modify this. If the default options aren't preferable for you, you can modify it as needed. So that's how you modify a device template. And as you can see, we have tons of device templates. Basically, we have over 12,500 device templates, and the list is increasing every day, every year. The list is increasing. So chances are, whatever devices you have in your network, you'll have it in OpManager, and will make your job easier with that. So that's how you monitor performance. So you can monitor the performance metrics for all the devices. Basically, any device in your inventory, we can monitor the performance. Yeah, these are all the performance monitors. As you can see, this is very much relevant to this router, and that's how you monitor performance. You can do this for routers, switches, firewalls, printers, servers, all kinds of devices you can monitor. So that's how you do performance monitoring in OpManager. Let's go to the next topic, that is storage monitoring. So like we mentioned in the last part, OpManager is also a powerful storage monitoring software with an increasing support for popular storage vendors. So OpManager has exclusive dashboards and dedicated reports for storage monitoring. Let's see how it is, how storage monitoring is done in OpManager. Here you can select storage. So these are all the storage monitors in OpManager. Sorry, these are all the storage devices that discovered in OpManager, and you can go inside those devices and you can see all the relevant storage monitors, and you can enable it as needed. You can monitor storage pool, utilization, capacity, all these kinds of things. And more than that, we also have information about the storage components, the disks, the logical unit numbers, the hardware, even everything, power supply, hardware, everything will be listed under the storage device, and you can monitor it as needed, including the hardware, everything. And I've mentioned the exclusive storage monitoring dashboard. You can see that right here. Go to dashboard, go to the drop down menu and select storage. Once you select this, the OpManager will show you a dashboard that is exclusive for storage usage. So it contains all the information about your storage, the storage forecasting. So you can know that whenever the data is running out, this data will run out, storage will run out 80%, 90%. All that will be shown in storage forecasting, IO rate, input output rate, all that stuff will be given in the storage monitoring dashboard. We also have reports specific to storage. Go to reports, under OpManager reports, select storage reports. So these are all the reports that are relevant to storage, and you can use these reports to plan for the future. Moving on, let's go back to the presentation and talk about VMware performance monitoring. VMware is one of the most popular virtualization vendors in the world. OpManager can monitor VMware virtual environments from vCenter servers, vSphere clients, ESXi hosts, VMs, and data stores. Everything can be monitored under OpManager. You can discover them with dedicated VMware discovery, which we mentioned in the last session, and monitor them with specific monitors, map them, create reports, and so on. Let's go to the UI and see how we can monitor your VMware virtual environment. So here under inventory, everything will be listed, but if you want to see dedicated virtual devices, go to virtualization. So these are all the VMware that we have under this. Let's select the VMware vCenter, this one right here. And you can see information about this VMware, such as the number of hosts, number of virtual machines. And the good thing is you can drill down from the vCenter itself, and you can drill down and start monitoring these VMs right here in the under the same tab of the vCenter. You can see the data stores right here. You can monitor the data stores. You can see the host, everything, and you can start monitoring them also. So all of the options is right here under this vCenter. And in the snapshot page, which is this one, you can see all the information about this particular VMware vCenter. Go to monitors, and you can associate all the virtual monitors. So here under performance monitor, OpManager will list, like we said, all the performance monitor that is relevant for this particular device. And you can select them as needed, and they'll be associated. So that's how you monitor VMware. Now, we also mentioned that we can monitor virtual events. How does that work? So go to settings. Under monitoring, you have VMware events. So here you have alert templates for VMware events such as the removal of a host, migrations between VMs, suspensions, relocations, renaming, all kinds of VMware events can be seen here, and an alert severity is shown. So you can, so what OpManager does is it monitors the virtual devices for these events, and if these events do happen, it'll trigger an alert with the severity that you provide. So this is how you monitor for VMware events. Just like with storage monitoring, VMware monitoring or virtualization monitoring itself, we have a exclusive dashboard. Go to dashboard, under virtualization, you can go for a full virtual summary for your dashboard. Here you can see all this information, top host by CPU utilization. All this information can be seen here, or you can drill down further and see just the VMware if needed. So this is a virtual monitoring dashboard. And just like storage, you have reports that is specific to virtualization. Here, under virtual servers report, you select that option, you can see all these reports. So let's talk about this report, top VMware VMs by CPU over allocated. So basically it'll tell you all the VMs with the highest CPU over allocation, and it'll even give you a recommendation of how to fix this particular issue. This is useful because this will help you prevent problems like virtual sprawl, whereas VMs are overutilizing your system resources. With a report like this, you can prevent virtual sprawl and other problems. And there are also reports for CPU under allocation, idle VMs, all virtual machines. Everything is right here. And I also mentioned maps. Virtual maps is another option in OpManager. So let's see a map of a topology map of a particular VMware environment we have. Here you can see the host, the VMs, everything. This is another feature specific to virtualization and VMware in OpManager. So let's go back to the presentation and talk about the other virtualization vendors. Of course, OpManager's virtualization monitoring isn't just limited to VMware. It also monitors top vendors such as Hyper-V, Nutanix, and Xen. OpManager monitors Nutanix using the default Prism API, as well as if you need extensive monitoring, you can use additional protocols such as SNMP, WMI, CLI, etc. And it does the same for other vendors like Hyper-V, Xen Server, and so on. And in the product, they'll be listed just the same, just the same under virtualization. So these are all the different virtual devices in this setup. Let's see a Nutanix cluster. So this is a Nutanix cluster that OpManager is monitoring. Select it, you can see all the details about this particular Nutanix cluster, the information, the hosts, the virtual machines. Again, you can start and stop monitoring them here, the disks, the storage containers, and so on. And you can see other vendors like Hyper-V, Xen, all of this will be listed here. You can filter them out by the vendor, the type, and you can monitor them right here. So that's how you monitor virtualization with OpManager. Let's go back to the presentation. Interface monitoring. So like we mentioned in the last session, interfaces are the core of any network as they form a bridge between your system and the other devices, connecting the entire network. On discovering the required interfaces and beginning to monitor, OpManager will help you gain complete visibility over your network interfaces and its operations. So you can monitor certain key attributes like the transmitted and received traffic, error and discard rates. And apart from that, also OpManager updates the basic interface properties like speed, description, and everything automatically every 24 hours. So every 24 hours, OpManager will update the properties of the particular interface and saving you a lot of time. So let's see this in the demo in the product. Go to inventory and select interfaces at the top. So this OpManager will list all the interfaces that it's monitoring. You can also see interfaces from the devices itself. So if you want, you can go to a particular device and then you can monitor the interfaces. This device is the earlier one with the problem. Let's see here. And let's go to switches for a change. Select the switch. There we go. And yeah, these are all the list of interfaces in this particular switch, and you can monitor them. And you select a particular interface, you can see interface graphs. This is the total bytes transferred, interface traffic, interface utilization, errors, discards, packets per second, everything you can see in under interface graphs. And in the summary page, you can see the details about this interface right here, the speed, the description, the bandwidth, everything is provided right here. And you can monitor, you can see the monitoring details about them right here. So if you want to monitor interfaces, it's better to monitor them using templates and using applying them to a set of interfaces rather than individually tweaking each interface monitor. That's why we monitor interfaces under settings, under monitoring, under settings, under configuration, under interface templates. So here you can create groups of interfaces. You can monitor, you can create templates for your interface monitoring. Let's select this particular template, Ethernet. So this includes the threshold details for this particular interface. So you can monitor the utilization, the error rate, and the discard rate for interfaces. And you can set thresholds for these values, as you can see right here. And this when will apply for all those interfaces which falls under this particular this Ethernet interface. All of them will be monitored using the same template. So this is how interface monitoring is done in OpManager. Now, there's another topic, interface groups. So interface groups feature an OpManager helps you to group interfaces together for organized network management. Certain interfaces are better monitored together as a group. And that option is right here. Select in under settings, under configuration. We'll go once again under settings, under configuration, go to interface templates, and you can create an interface group right here. Provide a name for this particular group. Let's name it New York office. So imagine these are the interfaces that are involved in my New York office. I can click next and then select interfaces from the criteria provided here. So we can select them en masse, and let's select them from the parent name, the devices, all the information right here. And then when you click on next, you'll have the option to enable notifications. Group notifications can be triggered for one single interface of that group or all the members of that group. So based on that, you can configure that, and interface monitoring templates you can apply to these groups, and that's how you monitor interfaces. So let's get back to the presentation and talk about hardware monitoring. Hardware monitoring is an often overlooked side of network monitoring. The status and health of your network devices can influence its performance to a great extent. So hardware performance can influence the normal performance of the device to a great extent. Say in your storage device, if the cooling unit is not functioning well, then it will increase the ambient temperature and then thereby affect its performance, degrade its performance. So monitoring the hardware is a very critical part of network monitoring. So OpManager also has the option to set hardware monitors for select devices. Let's see this in the product. Let's get back to our switch that we were seeing. So for this switch, we have a couple of hardware monitors. Like as you can see right here, you can see the power levels, the temperature levels, everything. You can see, you can monitor this. You can set alerts for this, the sensor, the power units, everything you can monitor. And you can do this for all the devices. This is applied actually from the performance monitors right here. You can select the add performance monitor, and all these hardware monitors are also part of the performance monitors given in this section. And that's how you associate monitors for a device. Now let's get back to the presentation. Talk about WLC monitoring. Wireless monitoring capabilities in OpManager is comprehensive. You have visibility into the controllers, access points, SSDs, and all the connected clients. So OpManager can monitor various metrics such as traffic usage, signal strength. It can monitor the SSIDs, the rogue SSIDs. You can also get detailed information on the health and availability of your access points and the active clients across your network. So wireless LAN controller monitoring, the wireless LAN controllers and the wireless devices in general are listed under network. Select wireless under network. Here you can see all the wireless devices. Let's select a wireless LAN controller. As I said, we have information on the SSIDs, access points, rogue SSIDs, clients. Everything is under this. And again, monitors is here. Select the performance monitors that's suited for your WLC from the options OpManager automatically associated. and then select the right ones and provide the thresholds as you need it. Right here, you can provide the thresholds, and that's how you monitor WLCs. And just as with virtualization and storage, we also have dedicated reports for WLCs right here. And we also have a dedicated dashboard for WLCs right here, WLC overview, as you can see. The next part is related to this, that's Meraki monitoring. So last session, we described how we can discover Meraki environments. Now let's talk about how to monitor those Meraki environments. So let's get back to the demo. And again, under wireless, Meraki is listed. Meraki controllers are listed. You can see information about the devices, the networks, the rogue APs, the clients, everything. For devices, you can monitor Meraki security, Meraki switches, Meraki radios, vision, everything you can monitor right from the main device itself, the controller itself. So you can get a comprehensive overview of your Meraki environment and monitor it by drilling down deep. You can monitor it better. So that's how. And just the same, you have reports for Meraki right here, and you have dashboards for Meraki under network, Meraki overview. This is a dashboard that is specific for Meraki, so you can monitor it as specific as you want it. Let's talk about Cisco ACI monitoring. Now, most organizations are switching to software-defined networking infrastructures due to its advantages, more efficient, consolidated, converged technologies are much more efficient and powerful. So Cisco ACI is a common site in modern networks, and you can discover and monitor your entire Cisco ACI environments using OpManager. I can show this to you. Go to inventory, and let's select Cisco. Let's narrow down the Cisco devices right here, and you can find the Cisco ACI right here. Select it. So again, you have all the overview information. You have the topology. You have the fabrics, the tenants, the endpoint groups. Everything is provided right here. And again, just the same, you have an SDN overview dashboard, which is specific for your Cisco ACI and other SDN environments. And yeah, that's how you can monitor Cisco ACI. And let's talk about IPMI monitoring. IPMI stands for Intelligent Platform Management Interface. And we discussed in the last session how we can discover IPMI environments. So to monitor IPMI, they'll be listed under servers right here. All the servers will be listed. Select IPMI. You can see the IPMI monitor. This device is being monitored by IPMI. And yeah, all the information is right here. The interfaces and the hardware information, everything is provided in this particular page. And this is how you monitor IPMI. Now we have almost come to the end of our presentation, and we're going to talk about the last topic on today's agenda. As you can see, it's IPSLA monitoring. Say you're working in a distributed network environment where you have multiple development centers connected to your headquarters. So sometimes in such cases, you may face latency issues when you perform a data transfer between headquarters and a development center. Or say when you try to make a VoIP voice call, and the call can sometimes get dropped, or the quality of the call will get degraded due to huge packet loss. In those cases, you can make use of the IPSLA monitoring feature and monitor WAN RTT, that is WAN round trip time, and VoIP, that is voice over IP, of your network using OpManager. And so OpManager provides detailed metrics such as jitter, latency, packet loss. You can use this information to quickly troubleshoot issues so that your SLAs or service level agreements are not violated. So let's see how it is done. Go to network and select IPSLA. This is a VoIP monitor. You can monitor VoIP or voice over IP, WAN or wide area network, and even videos. So let's see this VoIP monitor. So yeah, you can immediately see all the information such as source to destination jitter, destination to source jitter, round trip time, and all such information. The mean opinion score, MOS history, positive and negative jitter, latency history, all the information. So how OpManager does this is it leverages Cisco's IPSLA technology, and from a Cisco router, it's an active monitoring. It's not passive. So it basically synthesizes VoIP traffic from a Cisco router to a device of your choice, and then you can monitor that. So instead of knowing of a VoIP issue from an actual case with actual clients, which can be bad, you can actually synthesize the traffic and find out the issue before it actually happens. It's very proactive. So that's how you monitor VoIP. Now let's go back and talk about, so this is monitoring WAN and VoIP. Let's go back and talk about file integrity monitoring in OpManager. So this feature is designed to protect your OpManager installation from attacks from malicious actors. So OpManager's installation has a directory which has a set of files that is vital for OpManager's operation. With file integrity monitoring, you can schedule to scan the vital files and to monitor those files for tampering, for adding someone, if some malicious actors adds new file to attack your network, you can see that. If some files are removed, you can see that. So file integrity monitoring basically protects your installation from such attacks. So you can periodically scan OpManager's folder and ensure that only the credible files are present. I'll show this to you in the UI. So go to settings. Under general settings, select security settings. There are multiple security processes in OpManager. Select file integrity. So as you can see, it was successfully scanned and no threat files were detected. If any threat files are detected, as you can see in this report, OpManager will show you that, yeah, this is a particular file that was detected that was not part of what was expected from here. And as you can see, you have the option to blacklist this. You can have the option to whitelist. So this is actually a whitelisted option, but you can exclude this from scanning. So why would you do that? Sometimes you may have custom requirements and you may ask us to perform those custom requirements for your OpManager setup. And our engineering team will deliver a custom requirement with a file to you. And this file will need to be added to the directory. And in that case, you can exempt certain files like that from being scanned. So that's how OpManager ensures file integrity. The final topic of today's webinar is network path analysis. Basically, network path analysis allows you to monitor wide area network connections on a hop by hop basis. So basically, when you have a wide area network connection and you have a problem with that connection, you always tend to blame the ISP. The ISP may not always be the reason for. There are multiple network nodes between you and the ISP, and there the issue might be there. So how do you monitor this? How do you monitor every single node on a particular wide area network? This can be done using network path analysis. I'll show you how. Go to settings, under monitoring, select network path analysis. Wait a second, I'll show you this in a better setup. Under settings, go to network path analysis. So this is a WAN monitor for Google Linux. As you can see every single node in the way, and you can see the response time, the IP addresses of the nodes and everything until the destination. And you can monitor for latency and packet loss. And what's more, you can set alerts using thresholds for these. So whenever this particular WAN path is facing problems, you will be notified. And that's how you monitor network paths using OpManager. So with that, we've come to the end of this particular webinar session. And let's see some of the questions that have been asked frequently. The first question is, can we monitor URLs in OpManager? Yes, the answer is we can monitor URLs with OpManager, and I'll show you this in the UI. Go to settings, URL settings. Under monitoring, you have URL monitors. So yeah, these are just like before, you have multiple templates for URL monitoring. This particular URL monitor monitors OpManager's help pages. So you can use these help pages to troubleshoot issues with your installation. We'll always be there to assist you. So you can monitor these URLs right here, and you can set up different response times, availability, all the information will be provided. That's how you monitor URLs using OpManager. The next question is, what are idle interfaces? OpManager identifies inactive interfaces and labels them as idle interfaces. So how does OpManager categorize an interface as idle? Interfaces that do not collect any information for the last 30 days, and interfaces that are discovered with 0 bytes per second, interface speed are usually categorized as idle interfaces. This is done to reduce the load on OpManager and make it more efficient. Can I add custom monitors to my device? Yes. Let's get back to the next question. What is Quick Configuration Wizard? A Quick Configuration Wizard is a tool in OpManager that helps you make bulk configuration changes and then apply those changes to multiple devices with a few clicks. Say I wanted to change the monitoring level of a Meraki switch. I have already set it to 10. Now I want to change it to 5 or something. So you can go to the Quick Configuration Wizard and change it. So it's also under settings, configuration, quick configuration wizards. These are all the different things you can change in bulk using quick configuration wizard. So here you can select monitoring intervals, and the example we mentioned had Meraki. So I want to change this to, let's say, 10 minutes. This is done. All the Meraki controllers will have 10 minutes availability monitoring. And you can do this for all kinds of devices right here. So it's an easy way of doing configuration changes. And you can do the same you can edit device templates, notification profiles, service monitors, thresholds. All of these things can be edited using Quick Configuration Wizard. The next question is, what are the prerequisites for IPSLA? So there are multiple prerequisites. First of all, I think I mentioned this when I spoke about IPSLA. You need to ensure that the source device is a Cisco device. The source device has to be a Cisco device, and it should be discovered in OpManager. And what's more, you need more than just read credentials for IPSLA monitoring. You should have SNMP credentials with read and write permissions. So we need the write permissions to generate the traffic from the source device to the destination device. So you need SNMP credentials with read and write permissions. Then the source and destination devices should be reachable from the OpManager server. You can do this basically by using the ping function. I'll show that to you. And let's say you want to make sure that this particular switch is reachable from OpManager. You can do this by using the ping function right here. OpManager will send the ping and receive it. And that's how you ensure that the device is reachable. This is how these are the prerequisites for IPSLA monitoring. And before we move on, I request all of you to please take a moment and participate in the polls. So let us know the feedback about the session. The polls will be started in the webinar chat window. Please participate in those polls and let us know how you found this session. I'll wait for a moment for you to take the poll. We have listed our solutions in review platforms like Gartner, Peer Insights, and Capterra. We encourage customers to review us in this platform. And as an added bonus, if you review our solutions, you can win an Amazon gift card. And the link for that review will be listed in the chat panel. Please visit that link and review us. If you want to learn more in detail about OpManager, you can sign up for the certification course and become an OpManager associate. So you register in the link shown here and you can sign up for a certification. And there's a bonus for all the participants who attend all 4 sessions of all 4 parts of this particular webinar series. If you attend all 4 parts, we'll give you access to the certification course for free. It's usually worth $49, but if you attend all 4 parts, you can attend this course for free. Now, you can let's get connected over LinkedIn. Follow ManageEngine ITOM on LinkedIn to get exclusive insights, learn about new events, stay up to date on the latest product updates and enhancements, customer stories, everything. We're very active on LinkedIn and we're posting it regularly. So to be part of the IT operations management conversation, follow us on LinkedIn by visiting the link shared in the chat panel. You can find more video resources of OpManager's feature in our YouTube channel, ManageEngine ITOM. So visit the link in the chat panel and go to our YouTube channel to subscribe and learn more about the features. You can learn more on how to use our products from our help pages. Please visit the link in the chat panel to go to the help pages. And yeah, you can participate in our online forums and have discussions with other customers and ourselves in ManageEngine Pitch Stop under this particular forum. And if you have any trouble with our product, you can always mail the support team or call them in these numbers. We're always available to assist you. We're also posting regularly on Reddit, so please follow if you are on that platform. With this, we are done with the second part of the training series. Thank you for attending this session, and I hope that our objective for this training is met. Our next session will be on October 3, where we'll talk with alerts, reports, and network mapping. I invite you all to attend that session as well. Once again, I thank you for patiently listening. Wait, once again, before you leave, we have a free training series coming up for OpManager MSP, which is helpful for MSP services to see the full picture of your multi-client environment for efficient management. So please register for that if you're interested. And once again, I thank you all for patiently listening, and I hope to see you all in the forthcoming sessions. Thank you.